Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do my Magikey deck profile. I've had a lot of interest in this deck since Dawn of Majesty. I feel like it's almost there, like it's just missing a little bit, but we'll go over that. So we play 3 Clav Keys, 3 Mafteal. This is your monster lineup for Magikeys. This is an 18 or 19 beats, which almost never comes up. Mafteal lets you go into synchro plays really fast, or exceeds plays if you really need to. The extra normal summon that he does comes up actually quite often. For monsters that go with this, I play 1 Griffin, 1 the Shoe Ship, and Angel Trumpeter. I don't play the water one, just because water's not really heavy in the format right now. If I need to, I can make 1 or side it in, but this covers every attribute that's possibly gonna screw me up, and then this being a tuner just helps to go into plays when you kind of open a bricky hand, but these are the main cards of the deck. For additional monsters, we're also running 3 Ash Blossom, just a good hand trap. Tuner never comes up. For rituals, we're playing 3 Betos Buster and 1 Glare Glasser. Betos Buster allows you to kind of extend because it lets you search a Magikey card when it's made, which you can grab World, you can grab Mafteal, either the spell or the monster, another ritual monster if you want to keep going, and then when it battles, gives you an option to refresh your hand. It's come up a couple times. And then Glare Glasser is a monster negate if you use 2 attributes, which you always do. And gets bigger for each attribute in your graveyard. And when it dies, you search a Magikey monster. So he's all around pretty good. It's good to just set up a negate on board. And then we're playing DPE. I was playing with Dragoon because Red Eyes and Dark Magician are normal monsters, so they kind of fuel with Glare Glasser, and if you needed to, they were an optional send target. But Dragoon makes you use your hand for those negates, and when it comes around to your turn, you just end up with not enough cards to do anything. This package is a lot better, giving that extra summon, and then after you use these, getting a +2 will allow you to come back and potentially swing the game back in your favor because of the extra utility that this gets rather than playing just 2 vanillas. For spells, we're playing triple Magikey World. This card, when you activate it, you search a Magikey monster, which can be Mafteal or Ritual, normal targets, and then you can also search the gun, but you have to put a card back, and you can only use once per turn. We're going 3 gun. Most profiles I see play 2. I feel like you run out of options relatively quickly if you only use 2. You have to find a way to recur it, and it just kind of doesn't work. This is a very necessary card for the deck. It implements all your fusions and your rituals. We're playing...
Is that once per turn?
Mafteal is as many times as you want a turn.
Yeah, so that's why.
Yeah.
If you hard open it, it's okay.
We're playing 3 Unexpected Die. Good opener. Let me get whatever attribute I need on board, extend into further plays. It's just ridiculous, and you play to 3 because you're a normal centric deck. We're playing 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Terraforming, search the field spell, and Monster Reborn, kind of just that nice extender that you can use to try to get some of your value back. We're playing 2 Advanced Ritual Art. The gun isn't a ritual card, so you can't search it normally, or else I'd be like, Manju, I tried him. This lets you ritual from deck, which just allows you to have less cards, and you have to send normal monsters, just works with the deck. I feel like 2 is enough because that's 5 ritual spells for your deck for the 4 ritual monsters, so you're gonna get something that you need. We're playing 1 instant fusion. One of the Magikey fusions is a level 4. When it's fusion summoned, it lets you add the gun back. So it's a +1 and allows you to go for an extender play. It's also a tuner, so this can be an opener to try to go into your combos, which is kind of nice. We play 1 Called by the Grave. It's just a good ass card, and if you're not playing it, I don't know why you're not. Play 2 Fusion Destiny for our Destiny Hero engine. If you open it, cool. You can get it with Verte too. And we play 1 Magikey Battle. It's a new addition to the deck. I was only playing Magikey Unlocking as my extra stuff, but this is a really good card. You target a normal or Magikey monster or the gun in your graveyard, you shuffle it back to your deck. If you activate this in response to an opponent's card, your Magikey monsters and your normal monsters are unaffected by your opponent card effects. It's not an end of turn thing, you're just unaffected by them. So this kind of sets up really good protection. The other thing that's in here is a 1 of our Magikey Unlocking. This is a spell trap negate if you control a Magikey monster, and then you get to set your opponent's attributes on board, which can come up in plays. But these are my 2 search targets for the synchro that we'll get into. And then the last 3 cards in the deck are Imperm. You have to have a large amount of interaction in this deck. It's missing something. I don't know what it is. Hoping we'll get more support for it. But until then, we're playing as many interactive pieces as we can to stop our opponents to try to go into our plays. We'll go into the extra deck. So we're playing 2 of the level 4 fusion. This thing adds Moff Teal from your graveyard to your hand. When it destroys a monster by battle, it banishes it. And you can target an attack position monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as a normal or Magikey in your graveyard. You switch it to defense position and then make it lose 1,000 defense. It's come up like maybe twice since I've been playing this deck just to test it, but this can let you get over big beats, which is kind of nice to have. The only other fusion we have is Andrambi. Both of these are Magikey and a normal monster except the token. When he's fusion summoned, your opponent can't activate cards or effects, which is nice because then they can't respond to it. You can target a normal or Magikey monster in your graveyard and destroy all your opponent's monsters that are the same attribute as that. And then once per turn, when a monster with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard is destroyed by a battle or card effect, if this card is fusion summoned with 2 attributes, you draw a card. So this can get you a little bit of a plus, which is kind of nice. It's also 2,800. Get you into that. We're playing one of the Exceeds monster, Verpitu. 2 level 4s. When it succeeds summoned, you can detach a material to add a level 4 or higher normal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And if he has a normal monster, he gets an additional effect where at the start of the damage step, if he battles an opponent's monster with the same attribute as normal or Magikey in graveyard, you can detach a material from this and your opponent sends the monster to the graveyard. So he can kill big things that are hard to get rid of by doing what Magikey does, just having different attributes in your graveyard and then allowing you to add back to continue going is kind of nice. And then like the boss monster of the deck, Transferomine.
This card is so hard to play against.
This card is gross. He's a Magikey tuner and a non-tuner normal monster, which is really easy to get out of this deck. He can make 2 attacks each battle phase. And then once per turn, you can search a Magikey spell or trap and set it directly from your deck. And once per turn, whenever your opponent summons a monsters that have the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard, you get to destroy it, except during the damage step. So you effectively drop whatever attribute you need to in your deck using Moff Teal because you can fusion and ritual material from your deck if you have a normal monster. Set up the play, and then when your opponent summons their big problem thing, or even their starter, where if you stop the starter, they lose, this card is really good. I play 2 of it, just so that way, once your board gets broken, you can go into it a second time. I only see people usually playing 1 of this, and I like the redundancy of just having 2. Plus this card's OP, just having 2 attacks means you're gonna push in if you really have to push in.
And usually So the monsters you have in gray typically are what? Light, dark, fire, water, and earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, okay, so light and dark, that covers half the meta.
Yeah, you cover pretty much every deck that exists. And then, like, if you need fire for something in Sword Soul, you have that with this or the Sous Ship. Verpitu is the only water in the main board. So dumping that is kind of hard, but like no one's really playing water right now. We have a Zeus to put on top of Verpitu just to send everything away. It's come up a couple times. It's just in there for the redundancy. I'm not trying to use this a million times. That's why I don't have extra Xyz lines, but I do like having this in there. We have two other level 8s. Cyframe, Omega, pitch a card out of your opponent's hand if they are already trying to stop you and they drop a hand trap early and you're still able to go into this. Starting them at 3 cards is way worse than having them at 4, and you'll get this thing back. Chaos Ruler lets you mill cards, which will then fuel your graveyard, and he can come back since most of your monsters are light or dark, meets his requirements. He's come up a couple times. He's pretty decent. The last bit we've got are some link monsters. So we have a link spider, just so that way we can link climb into Anaconda, because we can't use Clavicus the way he is. We've got Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, because everything is dark now. You've got DPE, Access Code Talker, Dragoon, even though you can't target it, but half the stuff in Dragoon's deck you can. So this is just a really good card. We've got Anaconda to go into either instant fusion into the monster to set up the beast to set up an additional play next turn, or Phoenix Enforcer. Phoenix Enforcer is the main target for it. Having the pops is really good. I mean, this is just one of the best control cards in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and just having this additional help will push this deck just a little bit higher. I don't think it's gonna win anything anytime soon, but I think it's gonna put up a fight once people realize what Magikey can do. My last 2 cards, Appaloosa, just to set up that negate. If the game goes long, you can get a board presence pretty quickly, and setting up a triple negate isn't that hard. Just that way your opponent really has to think. And then Access Code Talker, when you go for that turn 2 push for game, it does come up. Most of the deck profiles I've seen on Magikey are just an excuse to play the Halki Firebacks lines with the Mechafanta Beast Link, and I don't really like it because it doesn't really feel like Magikey's, and you have to put way too much in there. I feel like this is a good version. If we just get an extra spell or trap that maybe gets us to a target or gets us an extra summon. I know we have a Xyz monster coming out soon in the OCG, which means we'll get it, I don't know, 6 months to 5 years, maybe depending on when they do it. So they are still making support for this archetype, and it is a manga archetype, so it'll come out sporadically. But I think somewhere down the line, this might be an actual real problem. But that's it for now. Until next time, guys. If you like what we're doing, just like, share the video with your friends, give us some comments, some feedback. Really appreciate it then.